to our daily Bible devotions. We have been discussing epistemology for the past 2 days, and on our third day, we will continue our exploration of epistemology, which is knowing about knowledge. And we talked about that it has something to do with believing and knowing, because belief is the foundation of knowledge. And in believing and knowing, it's important that in the believing process, we're not making up ideas. There has to be something really existing for us to sustain our beliefs. That means I cannot believe that there is a cup of coffee on my table when there is actually none. That means I'm just simply being delusional, and that's not a good uh, thing. Now, in Second Peter chapter 1, verse 16, Peter said this, "For we did not follow cleverly devised stories when we told you about the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ in power, but we were eyewitnesses of his majesty." So he's saying that his belief corresponds to reality. He has seen something. He is an eyewitness. And he went on, he continued in verses 17 to 18. He said, "He," referring to Jesus, "he received honor and glory from God the Father when the voice came to him from the majestic glory, saying, 'This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased.' We ourselves heard this voice that came from heaven when we were with him on the sacred mountain." Now, if you're familiar with the story, you would recognize this as the transfiguration of Jesus. And Peter was one of the three who witnessed that. And he's talking about that here. And he's saying that is the foundation of his belief. And that belief in Jesus is because of what he has seen. And that led him to continue following Jesus. Yes, that belief did not stop him from betraying Jesus uh, before crucifixion, but because he believes that Jesus is real, because he believes in what Jesus is preaching, in what Jesus is teaching them. So he repented when he betrayed Jesus because he knows that Jesus is someone who's real, because he believes that those truths presented to them, those are real things. You know, and all thinking, all knowing has to be rooted somewhere. In the same way that Peter said that his belief is founded actually on what he witnessed. That's why worldviews are important. So today I will introduce you to this term, worldview. What is a worldview? Worldviews are not what we see, but what we see with. So they give us a background theory of the nature of the universe. They offer us a definition of who or what we are. They put forward a description of what is wrong in life or with us. They also propose an answer or a solution. Sounds complicated, but really, if you think about worldviews, are the things that allows us to see. They are the lens that we use to see something. In my example earlier, if I'm talking about a cup of coffee, worldview is what allows me to see it. If I'm looking at a cup of coffee, but there really is none, then that's a bad worldview, because my worldview allows me to see things that are not there. That means my worldview makes me delusional. But what if I'm using a microscope? I'm able to see something that is so small it cannot be seen by the naked eye, but it's really there. Then my worldview magnifies my vision. So worldview, in a sense, is like a binocular as well. Something that is very, very far, and I should not be able to see them, but my worldview allows me to see them clearly. So I see things from far away. Worldviews are important like that, because ideas have consequences. It's important what worldviews we embrace, because not all beliefs, not all views are equal opportunity providers. Now, we discussed this during the time that we're talking about logic and logical fallacies. People are equal, but not ideas. Not all ideas are equal. Some ideas will lead you to death. Some ideas will lead you to kill someone. What if my idea is that when I jump off a building, I can actually fly? Now, the consequence of that idea is that will lead me to death, because the proper worldview is the one that acknowledges the law of gravity, that when I jump off a building, I will actually fall down and die. The worldview that negates the reality of gravity is not a good worldview. And also, there are people who hold on to worldviews that allows them to see people in a bad way, leading them to kill or to malign or discriminate other people. Those are not good worldviews because the consequences are dire, maybe not for the person holding the worldview, but for other people. So we need to test our worldviews to check if they're good or not. So we had three tests: logical consistency, factuality, viability. What are those? Logical consistency, we already discussed logic. So a true worldview will not contradict itself, will not be fallacious. It will be logically sound. Second, factuality. All true worldviews will fit into the facts of life and experience. So that means when I test something, it will check out. For example, if my worldview tells me that there is gravity, if I check it and if I jump and then I fall down, that means there is gravity. If my worldview tells me that there is a cup of coffee, if I test it and if there really is no cup of coffee, then my worldview is not factual. Third is viability. That means one can live with a worldview that is true. It talks about someone's experience. What if your worldview does not allow you to love? What if your worldview allows you to see things in a very negative way? It makes you very pessimistic. You can't live happily. You can't live with joy. Is that a good worldview? Then perhaps it's not a good worldview. What if your worldview allows you to look at someone, what I mentioned earlier? For example, the the belief of the Nazis. They believe that they're following something good, the Nazi worldview, but it actually led to the discrimination and to the killing of so many Jews, so many people. What we're seeking then is beliefs that correspond to reality, that describe and fit the world as it is, and also helps us to live well. Now, Christianity is a worldview, and we're looking for not just faith, but we're looking for a reasonable faith. And that's why we're studying epistemology, so that we can test our beliefs. We can test if it satisfies the test for worldviews, the logical consistency, factuality, and viability. Because at the end of the day, we don't want us to believe in something that is not true, that is not real.